Okay. I have not unmuted yet. Give me a second. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of Champions Corner, the For Honor podcast. Today, we have the exact same people as per usual, so I think we can do without introductions. But when it comes to what we'll be talking about today, we'll be talking about the usual thing with the tournaments. There was one really big tournament. Well, there was one big tournament the past 2 weeks or so. The 4v4 Ender Games tournament that we will be talking about. And there was the usual weekly tournaments by ESL and For Honor Arena on console. So I'll be mentioning, I've mentioned that those happened as well. Now, what's the big topic what the big topic is this episode is kind of obvious. The Marching Fire DLC coming in October. I think it is 16th or 15th. I think 16th. Well, that's going to be bringing in a lot of content, new mode for new characters, and probably some other things as well. So we'll be talking about that during the second part of the podcast. But when it comes to that is it. And we can go to the first part, which is, if I don't fuck this up. Yeah, there we go, news. So the E3 trailer dropped, an E3 presentation dropped with the new mode, the new 4 characters, as I said. There were the usual tournaments. When it comes to the ESL 1v1 PC tournament, there was, I think Kranex won that one. I remember him wanting me to shout him out. So there you go, Kranex. You won the 1v1 tournament. No one played in it. That's why you won it, but congrats. And yeah, I mean, there wasn't that much news aside from that. There was the 4v4 tournament that we will be talking in depth about in a second, and that's about it for the news. There is a lot of news, but we will be talking in depth about it in the second part, so that should be it. And now, if this is gonna work. Ender Games. Okay, there we go. Ender Games, which was the 4v4 tournament that happened this, I think it was last weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah, last weekend, which is Endervex's new tournament series. It's like, when it comes to rules sets, it's mostly the same as for Glory 4v4. It's just Ender decided to do it on his own, right now. So that was the first edition of Ender Games. And there was a decent amount of composition differences between the teams that we'll be talking about in a bit. And when it comes to the teams that made it far, there was a pretty big difference compared to the other tournaments. So the tournament was won by UDA, which was me, Clutch, Setmix, and Vinx. This time I remembered the names of my teammates. Second place was, I don't remember their name, but probably nothing important. It was Devour, Young Coconut, Rusty Rat, and Trijak. And third place was Legion, Ghost Overdose, White Wolf, and Frozen Flame, I think is his name. And then fourth place was Prime Danny, Inferno Tiger, Frosty, and Djibouti. Okay, I remember that. Yeah, and Djibouti. That was the top 4, and 3 of those teams, maybe not 3, like 2 of those teams you would not expect to see in the top 4 compared to the previous tournament. So, okay, so Scarbrand, can you talk about your experience of the tournament? What happened? Is kind of the question I'm asking.
Yeah. It was normally, we're like favorites, to get either first or second, and we did very poorly here. We got fifth. And there were a variety of factors. Probably the biggest one was tilt, massive tilt. Mainly caused from me. I had like some external factors going on that week. I was really hampering my mood. So I started to tilt really bad, and then it caused my team to tilt really bad, and then we just played really bad. And everything was team composition. We were still kind of trying to figure out what team comp worked best with us. That tournament we were playing with Highlander, And Highlander is kind of tricky to play with. You really have to know how to play with your Highlander to enable him to do as best as he can. He's a really different hero, and we don't think we do a good job of playing with Highlander, so we won't be doing that anymore. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean it happens sometimes. You have a poor performance. It's got to move forward. I think we're in really good position to possibly win the next one. So yeah,
Okay, so can you guys talk about your future team composition, or is that something that's being kept secret for the tournament?
I mean it's not secret. We're scrimming with it like almost daily at this point, and those are streamed and everything. We're we're really comfortable right now with Badrat Shaman, Weebu Kensei, Me Nabushi, and Rave Conk. We think that's a really strong comp.
Okay.
And something that
Yeah.
actually that we've been noticing, I know Devour's noticed it too. I talked about it with him, and I mean, I assume you guys noticed it too because I've seen some experiment on Kensei. Is that Nabushi right now seems like a complete direct upgrade to PK? Like, do you agree with me on that?
Well, in our case, we're trying out Kansai, just because of some maps like Shard, where there's a lot of 2v2s happening and small skirmishes happening, and being quick as a character is not as important as it is on something like Highford or
Mm.
Temple Garden, maybe. So on those maps, we're trying out Kansai because in the last tournament we're generally trying out a different composition altogether. Because in the tournament we played Shaman, PK, Nabushi, and Lawbringer Okong. So now we're trying out something different. We're trying out Zerker, Kong or Lawbringer, Nabushi, and either Kensei or PK. And Kensei or PK depends in our case at least, it depends on the map. So on something like Shard, we will probably always play Kensei as long as we're feeling comfortable with the character, and as long as Sadmix, of course, feels comfortable with the character. Just because there's like at the very beginning of each Shard game, there's usually two 2v2s happening, and one 2v2 can be something like, in our case, like Nobushi Lawbringer, which is not the best 2v2 composition, but it's good enough. We can easily win against any other team composition, a 2v2 team composition. But the other 2v2 in the last tournament was Shaman PK, which is not a very good 2v2 composition.
Yeah.
So if that composition is Kensei Zerker, oh, that's so much better. That's one of the best. It's like a top 5 probably, or something along those lines of team composition that you can have in general in 2v2, and it can gank, and it can finish people off, and can stay alive, and both Zerker and Kensei are really good. So on a map like Shard, we would play Kensei, but it's not necessarily that we think of Kensei as like a much better PK. At least I don't personally think like that. Maybe Sedmix is thinking like that. But it is like he is better in pretty much every aspect. So I guess we are thinking that way. I don't know. It's hard for me to say, but he does feel like he's better in team fights. Similar in 1v1, I don't know, probably slightly worse, but maybe, I don't know, similar in 1v1, I would say. But I guess against Warlord, but Warlord doesn't exist, I guess, in 44. Well, whatever. Similar in 2v2, in 1v1, sorry. A lot better in 2v2. A lot better in team fights. He's also, just like PK, has really strong feats. I don't know if quite as strong. I don't know if Chilling Star Unblockable is quite as strong as Sharpen... Sharpen Fear, but it is very close. So and then in big team fights he feels better. And I know you asked about Nabushi because someone in the chat is talking about that. He asked about Nabushi, but well, we always will have a Nabushi either way. So it's in our case it's choice between Kensei and PK. So that's why I'm talking about that topic, by the way, everyone in chat. So yeah, but Kensei is very slow, right? I think he's like below average.
Yeah.
So he's below average in terms of move speed. So on maps like Temple or Highford, it's very, very difficult to play with Kensei, at least in our experience. And yeah, well, more testing will need to happen because we only play like 1 or 2 scrims of that composition. But generally speaking, I would say that PK is still better better in our team composition on big maps, and Kansai is probably better on smaller maps. So that's how we look at it. But obviously in your guys' case, it's a choice between Nobu and PK, and Nobu is a lot quicker than Kansai, so the rotations aren't as much of an issue. So I don't know, like Bodja, is that the way you feel as well? Bodja?
Yeah, so like our comp, like we were struggling a lot, like since Score said one of the main reasons we lost we came 5th last tournament was our team comp. We needed a Nobushi to actually peel for our Highlander and actually keep him safe. And PK doesn't do a good job at that because damage output, and she's usually with the Shaman and not at mid. So we had a lot of trouble there. So I think in Nobushi's, like Score said, direct upgrade to PK in our composition. It may not be in yours, but that's what I feel.
I think like in any case, if you're deciding between PK and Nobu, I think there's always only one choice, and that's Nobu. Like I've compared like every aspect of him, and I don't see anything that PK does better. Like if you look at peel and potential, like they both have a 26 damage forward dodge attack. PK has a bit more range on it, but Nobu's is actually safe. PK usually eats even more damage than she does for doing it in a big team fight. And it's really noticeable because when fighting Ever Highlanders, we used to have a bit of trouble fighting like Rusty or Sloppy. As soon as I went Nobu, they get shit on every single game. Nobu does a great job of keeping Highlander out of offensive because she can just keep trying, and if she fails, the Highlander can't really punish her for dodging her attack. You know, at most, he'll get like an offensive light. And as well, because of Nobu's range, I can do it at a safe distance. When I was PK trying to keep a Highlander out of offensive, I would have to go really deep, and it put me like at vulnerability to getting Shaman gank.
Yeah, especially with reflex guard, and like since mid is so important in minion, like it really helps to have an extra hand with body count just clearing. And second win is extremely good.
And then PK's an assassin, right? She's supposed to be able to win her fights, but she's not good at all in 2v2 after the nerfs. And she cannot kill any solid guard in 1v1. So, why not just pick Nobu? And Nobu can't kill anybody in 1v1, but so what's the difference then, yeah. You know? Why would I pick PK if I could pick Nobu, be just as worthless in 1v1, but be better everywhere else?
Obviously, like in our case, it's different because we're thinking of either Kansai or PK. But with Nobu and PK, there's no real reason to. If you have a similar amount, like a similar level player on both of these characters, then I don't think there's a reason, to ever really have a PK, unless you have like, I don't know, like you already have a Kansai and like an additional, like if you already have, I don't know, what other character is like really good in mid? Raider is okay. I don't know, Aramusha is okay, but Aramusha is trash in general. So yeah, I was thinking of like some different mid characters. I guess Lawbringer would be one. But yeah, generally you would. I don't think there's ever a reason to pick PK over a similar level Nobushi. I talked about it to myself, and I convinced myself. Okay, so that's the team compositions, I guess, and for you guys. For us, as I said, we're trying out a different composition because just kind of why not. There's not really a reason except just kind of trying out because why not. At least I don't think there is.
These aren't super high stakes tourneys. Why not try stuff?
Yeah, like Shaman, Lawbringer, or Kong. PK and Nobushi is that I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And we won our the last two tournaments, I think, with that exact composition. But might as well try something else. Clutch was talking about how he has a lot more fun on Zerker because he's a lot less brain dead, in his words at least. So wait, let me move this VOD a little bit.
Yeah, we've just been experimenting with different comps to see what we like best. So Highlander definitely didn't work out for us. We played him in, I think, 2 tournaments now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we were like trying out a bunch of different stuff. We pulled out Raider and everything.
Yeah, we were trying like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, why not? And we're trying out something completely different as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm having fun with our new composition. I think more than with our old one, but there's also a lot less brain dead because I don't have a shaman anymore. But then again, the other ganks are not very difficult either.
As well, yeah. Zerker is extremely good at shutting assassins, so it's not a bad pick. Because
I mean, Zerker's go on, sorry.
Yeah, like if he ever catches Shaman like trying to backhand, like 90% of the time he win that 1v1 just because how strong Zerk is against reflex. So definitely not a bad pick.
Yeah, I mean he has really good ganks as well. 70 damage each time I get a guard break, like on a counter guard break. I mean. With Nobushi at least. With PK it's probably like fucking 20, but with Nobushi it's like 70, and it doesn't give revenge. It like 2 guard breaks, which is what is needed to kill pretty much everyone. It doesn't even give revenge. So it's a really good gank. Same with Lawbringer. Lawbringer's gank is really good as well, although that needs walls, so there's a lot more counterplay to that. But they're both like really good gankers. Like. Except I guess Raider and obviously Shaman. I know Raider I would say is around the same level, and then Shaman's obviously the superior ganker compared to everyone.
I think Lawbringer is really good at ganking too, because
well that's what I'm saying.
Not much counterplay to his.
Well, no, I would actually say that to Lawbringer there's the most counterplay out of the. I don't know, maybe to Raider there's even more, but I would say like Lawbringer has a lot of counterplay to him. It obviously depends on which. Our area of which map you're in, but usually Lawbringer is in mid, and there you can counterplay his Impale a decent amount.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like if there's no wall, but I'm saying, say if he's at a point ganking. There's always a wall. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
yeah.
Like in mid, it's tricky because there's no walls and it's really open. So you just you need like a strong dash attack to actually get something out of it.
Yeah. But yeah, like we're kind of experimenting with having 2 gankers instead of 1. And on top of being really good gankers, both Lawbringer and Zerker provide a lot in other parts of the game as well. Whereas Shaman is just kind of ganking and it's kind of about it. Of course, she's not like the worst at everything else, but she's not the best at it.
Yeah, no, like she's really good at chasing down people.
Yeah.
Like
but
if someone's trying to go heal, like she can really chase. I don't think Zerk can do that. Lawbringer can do it to a certain extent, but not as effective.
Yeah, Zerker's...
He does have fast movement.
Yeah, Zerker's really good in team fights. He's really good in 2v2. He's really good in 1v1 except against solid good heroes. He's really good at ganking. Lawbringer is really good at team fights when he has feats. He's really good at ganking and really good at mid control in general. So just feels like with these 2 characters it may be possible that Shaman is not necessarily needed. And so instead of having 1 dedicated ganker, we have 2 ones that are really good at ganking but also really good at their parts, and kind of we're trying to compensate not having a Shaman this way. Well, we'll see next tournament if we even play that composition. But okay, so Reptile, you haven't said anything yet because it was a slightly different discussion, but
I mean, you've been talking about your team composition.
So speaking of your team, so you play in this tournament, and I don't know which place you got. I think like 6th or 7th, right? So
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So what happened? How was the tournament for you?
Okay, the tournament went fine, all things considered. We had a scrambled team: me, Hensax, Ashur, and Haley. And basically, we haven't practiced at all because I've been in Sweden, so I was also on my laptop, and it's not perfect for playing For Honor. Let me tell you that. And we had Ashore, hadn't slept at all, so he did some interesting plays overall as well. So we had some big time struggles, and we went to losers bracket fighting you guys on UDA, and then we went up to losers semis or something like that, and then we lost to Prime Danny's team.
Okay. So I was gonna ask you actually about that because Prime Danny's team is the one that I think I'm pretty sure this is their first tournament ever. I think Danny and Frosty have played in 2v2 tournaments, but I don't think they've ever played in a 4v4 tournament together. So how were they? Because they're like the kind of quote unquote new talent, not quite as as successful as maybe a Skeptics team in the past, or Ghost Wolf and yeah, White Wolf and Ghost Overdose in 2v2. But they did do pretty well for their first tournament. So how were they? Because they're playing a different composition, right?
Yeah, so they have a Centurion is the the thing you need to know right off the bat. They have a guy that like only plays Centurion, albeit he's very good at playing Centurion 4v4. And they from what I know, they play a lot of matchmaking, and they also play a lot against good players in matchmaking. I heard Score, you guys play against them all the time, apparently. So they get decent practice from actually playing in matchmaking. They played rather well. They knew how to keep points. They knew how to contest things. They were good at team fighting, specifically. One thing I noticed they were very good at was having the Scent pick someone off by forcing them into a bad position. So they basically 2v1 very quickly with Scent. But yeah, they seemed really like decent at just playing Dominion as Dominion is supposed to be played, instead of just deathballing, playing like actual matchmaking retards. They actually know what they're doing to a certain extent.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I mean, personally, I'm excited to see, as per usual, as every time a quote unquote new talent, or again, like I would have to see them in more tournaments. But what I'm saying is, like, I would be excited to see them in more tournaments. And the team you guys are watching right now on the stream is Legion's team, which is Legion Unchained, White Wolf, Ghost Overdose, or I guess his name is now Ghost Over, Frozen Unchained or Frozen Flame. He changes names, and that's their team, which is Kansei, Nobushi, Conqueror, and Shaman, which is a pretty standard team composition. Not much wrong with that. And I know Reptile if you played them, but Budget and Score, you played them in this tournament, right? How were they?
Yeah. Well, by the time we played them, the tilt had fully set in, so we were playing very poorly. So we lost pretty handily to them. But we scrimmed them on occasion. They're definitely not bad. They're a decent team, I mean, Alernakin, about Ghost Over and White Wolf. We fought them in 2v2. They're good at team fighting for sure. And they're definitely dedicated to improving. They're looking for scrims very often, so I remember we did play against what's it called? Legion's team. We were the ones that put them in losers bracket before we played against UDA. And I don't know what to say. They didn't play very well against us. They played pretty bad. But
yeah, if you notice, like our scrims against them, we didn't talk once. Not scrim, sorry, the tournament against the losers. We our comms were just mute the whole game.
I would like to know, but the Weeaboo's VOD is muted, so I can't.
Yeah, we didn't talk a single word, both the maps. So
nice.
Kiltuan has won.
He has won. Okay, so that's Legion's team. They got third. We'll see if they end up improving, just like Prime Dan's team. I hope they do. They're definitely dedicated to improving. Now, the team that got second was Devoured, Young Coconut, sorry, Treejack, and Rusty Red. Okay, so their team composition is Highlander, Nobushi, Shaman, and Kong. And I think they're having Trijak play Kansen every now and then as well, but I'm not sure how permanent that is. I don't know if they're playing it depending on maps or...
He switches between both, but I typically see his Kensei more often than his Kong.
Okay. I'm watching I'm having the tournament finals, the VOD from my channel, and the first game he played Kong. I'm not sure if I don't remember if he switched to Kensei, but he plays both of the characters is basically what I'm trying to get at. And they got second place in this tournament. They only lost to us, and I think they only lost to us in the tournament, or am I wrong here? I'm not exactly sure. I think they lost twice to us in the tournament. I might be wrong here. Either way, they had a really good tournament, and even against us, they had some games where we could have definitely lost. Yeah, Coconut says that. Yeah, that was so. Yeah, so they only lost to us, and even against us. So however stupid that sounds, they had a lot of games, especially a game in the first time we played against them on Citadel where we honestly should have lost. Miraculous holds, let's call it that, we ended up winning. But either way, they're a very good team, and I'm again, as per usual, excited to see more. And I hope they end up practicing and playing more in the tournaments, because Devour and Coconut have always played together, and usually with Rusty as well. But they've always had the fourth one kind of like the change per each tournament. They would just change their fourth player. But now that I know Trijak is their permanent fourth, they should be able to improve a lot quicker than before. And hopefully, once the Russians start playing again, I don't know what's up with the Russians. I don't know if they're going to be playing at these tournaments or not. But once they do play, I would be excited to see Devour's team or Coconut's team play against the Russians as well. But yeah, I talked about the team comp, and what you'll notice from all these team comps, from all these top 5 teams that we've talked about so far, I already mentioned our team comp, is that each team comp is at least slightly different. So Danny's team has Ascent, which is like the biggest difference. Some teams have Highlanders, some teams have Kongs, some teams have, in the case of Trijak as well, Kensei Kong flex. We have Lawbringer or a Kong, usually Lawbringer, and then Shamans in like every team. PK is in a few teams. I would say Nobushi is in most of the teams as well.
Top 4 teams, Nobushi was there. It was only our team that didn't have Nobushi.
Yeah, Prime Don's team, Legion's team, the various. Yeah, so in top 4 it was Nobushi and Shaman in those teams. And then if it was the Russians, if they ended up playing, there would be another Nobushi as well, and obviously another Shaman. So we'll see. Hopefully, with Shaman's nerf, we'll see if whenever that happens, if that happens, hopefully we'll see even more variety. But there's already a decent amount. The 3rd and 4th character are pretty much different with each team. When with Nobushi, it is played a lot, but not, I don't think to the exact same amount as Shaman. But if she ends up obviously being played by every team, then something needs to be done about that as well. But we'll see. For now, so that was the top 5, and our team again, we played Shaman, Lawbringer, Orkong, PK, and Nobushi. We ended up not losing a single map. We ended up going 12-0, if I remember correctly. So it was a pretty good tournament for us. As I said before, there were some rounds that we definitely should have. There were some maps, that we definitely should have lost. But in general, it felt like a pretty smooth sailing in general for the tournament. And I'm excited to try out different compositions and see what happens with different. In our case, with Zerker and was the other one, Kensei, if we end up playing Kensei on some maps. So I'm excited for even more diversity than we already have, which is right now we already have the most that we've ever had, I think. So okay, I think that's about it about the tournament, unless there's something more that you guys want to talk about. But I just kind of like ended up going on a rant or on a long talk here by myself. But is there anything else that you guys want to mention?
Nope.
Actually, oh, I have something. The next 4v4 tournament is going to be CFH's Competitive Foreigners 4v4 tournament, which is, I think, next weekend, right, on Saturday. I think I'm correct in that. Yeah, and there's going to be on the weekend also a 2v2 tournament by Mistress. It's I think it's 4th or 5th Mistress Mayhem, and that's on Sunday. So there's going to be 2 tournaments in a row, like one on both on Saturday and on Sunday is going to be a pretty big tournament. So I'll post the links now because I was going to do that later, but I'll do that both later and now. That's the Mistress, and there's the competitive For Honor 4v4. The 4v4 is done again, is hosted again by Competitive For Honor. That's their first, the Discord pretty much, right? I think that's mostly by the Discord rather than the Reddit. So that's their first tournament hosted so far. But with the way they worded their announcement, it does seem like there's going to be more tournaments hosted by them in the future as well. I don't know if it's all going to be 4v4, this is going to be 2v2 and 1v1. I have no information on that, but I would assume there would be more tournaments in the future coming up from them as well. Okay, so yeah, if you're looking to get into competitive, there's going to be 2 really big tournaments this weekend, and as per usual, you can talk to Baldrad if you're looking for a team, unless the offer has expired, but I don't think it has.
No, the offer is always there.
Okay,
just DM me on Discord and I'll help you out.
Yep. So that's Baldrad. Okay. Oh, actually, about the news, still, because I forgot one thing, that For Honor Starter Edition is right now free. I think it's free until like tomorrow. So for you guys, I probably don't have many new player viewers or players who are not playing For Honor already. But if you need a Smurf, then that's this is the moment to get one to get one for free. I know I got it. But I think when it comes to the tournament, that's about it. And oh yeah, so the takeaway from this is it was a different tournament when it comes to team composition, and especially the team variety of just the players and the names of the teams, and it was a shake-up compared to the usual tournament, which usually just ends up being 2 teams playing against each other pretty much, and here there was like 5 or 6 competing teams at the same time. So I'm excited to see more of that. Hopefully in the competitive For Honor tournament is going to be that as well. And about the tournaments, I think that's it, and I think we're going to be going to the break. Unless
just like to add that the Ender Games tournament, we had like a record most teams. It was 19 teams that joined, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was a tournament with not that much advertisement, right? I think because was it mention of Warriors then, or was it not? But do you know?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, so there was no mention of Warriors then, which usually is the way that it gets advertised to the general public, let's call it. But it was only mentioned on Competitive For Honor and on Discords in general. So 19 teams with that, that's great. I'm hoping that the Competitive For Honor is gonna have a decent amount of teams as well. It should be. All the tournaments recently have had a pretty good amount of teams, like between 15 and 19, I think, all of them. So yeah, that's nice, and I think that's about it. I've talked way too much, but I think that's about it, right, for this part of the stream. So we're going to be going to the break now for like 4 or 5 minutes, and after the break we will be coming back with Marching Fire, the E3 DLC. That's going to be coming October 16th, right? Am I right in that? Because I've said this like twice already. Is this October 16th?
That's the date I remember, but not sure.
Okay, so let's call it October 16th. We're going to be having a lot of difficulties with pronouncing the names, but that's okay, of the characters, but that is all right. So yeah, be right back. Okay. Give me a second. This is gonna take a break screen. There we go. Show resuming soon. Do I have the song? I do. Okay. I will slowly get everything set up. Okay. Overlay 1. This is what I want. Just give me a second, guys. Did I make anything here? Okay, overlay 2. Marching fire. There we go. Okay. Alright, we have come back from the break. One thing actually, production value by the way, one thing actually before we go to the DLC talk, there's 9,000 players and there was 10,000 players on Steam today, which is, and that's, you know, the 24-hour peak is 10,000 right now on Steam, and that's not even counting all the new players that have gotten the game for free, which For Honor on Facebook, I don't know if they said it anywhere else, but on Facebook at least, they said that at least 3 million players have gotten the game for free. So that's a lot of people on Uplay.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. When the E3 hype is this big, then you get a lot of people. I would like to one day see the Uplay numbers, but I don't think Ubisoft is ever gonna show those. But that's really cool. We know that at least 3 million people have gotten the game for free in that week or so, and that was a couple days ago as well. So maybe more people have gotten it now. So yeah, that was just an additional thing because I saw that in a Discord just now. So that's really cool. But what's also really cool is Marching Fire, the DLC coming in. I'm saying this for the first time. I'm hoping I'm correct. October 16th of this year. And there's going to be, as I said like 2 times already as well, a Breach, which is a new mode, and Siege Castle kind of mode, 4 characters. Tiandi, one of those. This guy that I'm showing on screen, Shaolin, hook swords. I don't know.
You didn't even try.
I'm not trying with that one. And the last guy, I don't know the last guy. I'm not trying.
Luxia.
Okay, sure. And what's the last guy? Yeah, what's the last guy?
Last guy is Hein.
Is what?
Something.
Is what? Can you tell me the name?
Zing Shan.
No? Is that so? Is that the name?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, that's the name.
I think we call him Old Man.
Yeah, Old Man, I think is the name. He's a very, very old man that we know nothing about, except that he has a weapon that's like kind of like an Ibushi's weapon. I don't know what the difference is. That I'm sure there's some difference. But
the Guandao.
Thank you, Skirman. That helps a lot. Okay, so we can talk about the 2 characters that they've shown, that Ubisoft has shown, which is Tiandi, this guy, and there's Shaolin. We can start with the first guy. That looks really cool, and he has a lot. So in a way he has a decent amount to him. Like he has a lot of tools for different situations, but at the same time he's simple enough. Well, he's a vanguard, right? So he's simple enough for a new player or a newer player to pick up and kind of just play. Now, Score, you went to E3, right? You played a little bit. You said like 1 game or something, but do you have any experience playing the general, or the DAO, or whatever this guy's name is at this point? And how does he play?
I love playing him. Tiandi is super, super fun, and it definitely very basic here. You know, he's a vanguard, but it feels like there's a lot to him.
Okay.
And there's definitely a lot of viable mix-ups in his kit. Like, for example, let's say he gets into his chain somehow, like he hits a light somehow, like off of like a dodge attack or a heavy parry or something, and he lights. And now he's got a pretty good mix-up there after a light, because his chain light is 400 ms in every direction.
Mm-hmm.
And he can also do the palm strike after the light, which is 600 ms, you know, like a toe stab, Dabushi kick, flat zone. But its tracking is more on the level of flat zone. It's really good tracking, so it's tough to dodge.
Yeah.
And what this means, because he can do it after the light, you know, we briefly touched in the main section of how, PKs or Kirby's guys can't hit solid guards. And it's because if solid guards wiggle their guard around, every guard switch after the first has no delay to it. There's no 100 ms delay. So basically, solid guards have 100 ms more to react to block.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the threat of a palm strike, you can't do that against General's chain light. If you're moving your guard around so you can react to his chain light, you're gonna get hit by the palm strike. So his chain lights are threatening even against solid guard.
Yeah, well, hopefully by the time he comes out, all the guard switch bug will have been fixed. But if it's not, then that's a really big thing compared to others. And even if it is, that's still a really good mix up that is for the the channel or Tiandi. Let's just say Tiandi, I guess. Now
Another thing about him that I haven't seen many people talk about is his side dodge heavies.
Mm-hmm.
They are like the best part about him, honestly. Like his side dodge heavies are insane, and I haven't seen much focus on them. So his side dodge heavies very very slow move, like super slow, but they are feintable, and they have a ton of iframes, like Swift strike level, like beyond Swift strike level.
Beyond fucking can't see it. So.
Oh yeah.
Like,
God.
Yeah. The amount of iframes on a side dodge heavy is insane, and then you can feint it. So you get these iframes. You do it from a safe range, right? So you're not vulnerable to GB. It does have decent GB vulnerability, but it's like 400 ms to grab that side dodge heavy. So if you are in range, you can easily grab it. But you do it from a safe range where you can't be grabbed, and you just keep doing this in neutral, and they can't attack you because you're just in iframes the whole time. And at any time, if they try to do anything to you, you just iframe it, and then now you let that heavy rip. It's like Shinobi level of shutting down offense. It's really insane.
Yeah, it's really strong. Well, hopefully it will be tuned down a little bit, but it is a really big thing, and it's not very fun to play against. I can tell you that.
It's not.
It's not.
He also has dodge light attacks, which are undodgeable. They're really fast, which gain into 4 ms lights and palm strike.
Yeah,
so that's another really good thing about him.
Yeah, he has a lot of really good flow to him, if that makes sense. Off a dodge, he has a decent amount of options where he can do the light, that's undodgeable and really quick, or he can do the dash heavy, that he can then further cancel into something else as well. So there's a lot of options to him, like with his flow, but they're all pretty intuitive. I would say so. He's not very difficult to play, but he does have that level where the better you are, of course, the better you will do. It's not like there's like, well, okay, you can only use like zone and top light on ward, and then that's the skill ceiling, right? There is a decent amount to him that you can get really good at him, right?
And another thing, I've seen questions like on Reddit and such about his kick. What's the point of his kick? Because if it wall splats, you get nothing. If there's no wall there, you get nothing. What's the point of this move, right? Well, if you're a very specific distance from the wall, where they don't wall splat, but they don't go max distance because the wall stops them from going any further, then you get a forward dash heavy. So you get a bit of damage with that specific spacing. And also it does a lot of stamina damage and freezes for stam regen for a long time. So let's say they're low stamina. Now the kick is a real threat. If a kick puts him out of stamina, it's a real threat because he has good out of stam pressure. Because once you're out of stam, his lights don't bounce off a block, which means he can easily get to that. Is it the chain light or is it the palm strike? You can get to that mix-up very easily when you're out of stam. So you don't want to go out of stam against him. If you're low on stam and he's threatening a kick, now it's scary. Now you have incentive to dodge it. And if you're thinking of dodging it, then he can use his soft feint. He can soft feint the kick into a dodge. So if he thinks you're going to dodge it, he can dodge out of his kick and do his undodgeable light dodge attacks.
Yeah.
So there is mix-up there in specific situations. It isn't always usable. Palm strike is like always usable thing. The kick is for if you have the right distance or if they're low on stamina.
Yeah, also, one more thing is that on top of doing a lot of stamina damage, it also freezes stamina regeneration for a bit. I don't know the exact time. I'm sure you could tell from the footage, but it does freeze stamina as well. So even if you're out of stamina, it freezes the stam region. So that's that's an additional thing.
Question in the Twitch chat, you do not get a GB for dodging a palm strike, no.
You can get a dash attack there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, but that can be changed, right? That's not final.
Yeah, that's very subject to change,
Yeah.
of course.
So yeah, as you guys are hearing us talk about all these things, like when it comes to the general playstyle and general any of the characters' playstyle and things like that, then that's not going to be changed because that's the idea of the characters. But when it comes to the exact numbers that we'll be talking about or things like that, those are obviously subject to change. It's like 4 months until the season, so don't take them as gospel, right? Okay, so about the DAO, also his is that all about his gameplay, like his moveset and things, or is there something more that you want to talk about?
I would like to point out the whole idea of him as a vanguard that they make clear in their stream is that, like we said, he doesn't have like a lot of different moves, but the whole point is that he's simple, but all his options are very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Especially his like Score said, his dash heavy, very, very, very strong tool, and his kick can be used to pick someone off in a fight or push them out of a fight and keep them there for a certain amount of time because Geno's probably going to be very good at doing that.
Okay, so
And his zone's really good too. It's quite the hitbox.
yeah,
to it,
his zone's
so
pretty good.
in team fights, it's really good.
I think it's 500 MS run, like in the
Yeah,
build.
it's 500.
It's the standard 500 MS, 20 damage,
Mhm.
faintable second part. Yeah, decent hitbox on it.
Yeah. Okay, and about his moveset, I think that's about it. But now we've been talking mostly about 1v1 generally. Now about 4v4, do you guys think he of course in this of course in the meta is way too early to say, but do you think he would have like an interesting playstyle in 4v4, or would he be like interesting, in 4v4 at all?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So?
He's really good at bullying people. Like it's tough to get away from him because of his undodgeable dodge attacks. Like if he chooses that he wants to attack you, you're just gonna have to deal with him. And he puts on such big pressure with these. Like you can't dodge. You have to sit there and deal with his mix-ups because of his undodgeable dodge attacks.
Yeah.
And this whole time you have to be looking out for the palm strike because that's going to guarantee his ally heavies, and you have to be looking out for everything else around you at the same time, and you have to do this. Like you can't just roll away.
Even the kick is very useful in force because it sends you quite the distance, which guarantees that ally heavy. So
yeah, and the kick is kind of like a no, you're not in the fight kind of move.
yeah.
And just like someone's trying to do anything, no, you just jump, and the range on it is really good as well. Like how far it sends people back.
Yeah, exactly.
You just kind of know you are not in the fight. You thought you were, but you are not, kind of thing. Yeah, as you guys saw on stream right now. Okay, so about his feats, because we could see the feats, and let me pull them up on the stream. I don't know if you can even. Can you even? You should be able to read that. Okay, so he has 4, at least the ones that we know of, the feats that he has, are the 4 new feats for him. So tier 1 is Death Wish, which is give a pulse of damage boost every 5 seconds when, and then it just kind of counts. So I'm not exactly sure what Ubisoft was thinking there, but it gives. I would assume it's like when he gets hit, maybe. Maybe that's the thing, like a damage boost to his team every 5 seconds when he gets hit.
Yeah, I think it's
something like that.
It's the damage boost to his team every time he gets hit. That makes sense.
So that would make sense with the name, and that would make sense with his entire idea
Yeah,
here.
if you look at tier 2, the whole he sacrifices HP, so it would make sense. It's when he gets hit.
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, tier 2, sacrifice 25% of your life to give 15 HP, full stamina, and cleanse debuff to everyone around. It's not exactly sure. We're not exactly sure on how big the radius of it is, but it does sound very interesting and it sounds pretty good as well. Although 25% is a lot of percent, but it also gives a lot of full stamina. So when they're out of stamina, for example, 1v1ing a conk or something, there's also a Highlander. It sounds pretty good. The small HP is decent, and then the debuff cleanse is really good. Then again, I don't know if it would. If I would assume it works on something like Chilling Stare, but then again, does it?
Yeah, I would guess it's for like Killing Stare, Mark for Death, Scout, those kinds of things.
Unless they introduce new debuffs, because these are new feats, they could potentially introduce new debuffs.
Yeah.
On other new heroes.
Yeah. So
I think its primary use would definitely be for countering Killing Stare.
Yeah.
Because the HP gain, at least of course things could change. This is all work in progress, but 15 HP isn't really enough to turn a fight.
No, but the stamina thing is actually, I think it would be pretty good, because if you're full health at least, because if you're below, like if you're half a bar, obviously you wouldn't use it or anything. But if you,
the way I read it is, I read it as 25 of your current health. Like let's say if you had 20 health, it would take 5. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm reading it as.
Yeah,
you can literally just commit suicide.
Well, I assume if it would end up being like 25% of your entire health, then you would probably not be able to kill everybody. You probably would end up just either not being able to use it, or. But if it is current health, then that sounds really good. But this is also first of all, this is Ubisoft, so their feat descriptions are not always very very correct, because I think with what was it with not Fierce of Shop and Blade, I think they have like you gain like medium. Like you deal medium damage to your opponents or something like that, and then we know how much damage that deals. Medium damage. So
moderate damage.
Or moderate damage. Oh yeah, by the way, Craig hosted us with 56 viewers, so thank you, Craig, for that. Hope you had a good stream, and thank you for the host. We're in the middle of discussing Dao or Tiandi or whatever, and then we'll be going to Shaolin and then Breach. So tier 3 feat for him is gain a life leech when below 50% HP, and another stronger one when critical. So life leech is, I assume, just literally life leech, so you hit someone, like kind of like shaman when someone's bleeding, is I assume what this means. So when when you're below half health, or when you're critical, it's even more, you gain damage for hitting people. And then unkillable is gain a shield when going critical. The cooldown reset when you get 100% life. I don't get what the second part of it means, but the first part is, I also don't know exactly.
You don't know what the second part of the fourth
first
means?
Part, I remember from watching the strip and the. It was like a 50 HP shield once you went under 1 bar.
Yeah, so that's what I was wondering. If it's like a full shield, like a full health, pretty much.
No, that's really strong.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, that's. Well, that's also tier 4, right?
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be really strong, but yeah.
But is it a permanent shield? Do you guys know?
No idea.
I would assume so. Yeah, but if you get full health, then I guess it goes away. Is I guess what this means? Cooldown reset when you get 100%.
I think the feat is on like cooldown.
I think it means once you're full healed, then it's ready to activate again.
Yeah, it doesn't say anywhere that the shield deteriorates.
Yeah, but well,
So
again, this is very early on, and this is feat descriptions of Ubisoft. So there could be some details that we're missing here. But
maybe like auto revive, like once it's used, it's on like a 2-minute or 3-minute cooldown before it can be used again. Not sure though.
Maybe, I don't know. We would have to get more information from Ubisoft on that. But those feats, and then later on with Shaolin feats, the same theme of them being really interesting and new feats, rather than like for Aramusha where he has like new feat, which is just longbow with a fire arrow, right? And then things like that. Those sound like really cool feats that, right now it's difficult to say balance-wise, but design-wise they sound like really cool feats.
Yeah, the feats seem more catered towards actual character identity instead of just here you have a pool of feats, and then we give it depending on your character role.
Yeah, it sounds, yeah, they sound fun. Is what I'm trying to get, especially with Shaolin as well later on. They sound fun, even if they won't end up being like the best choices, because of course there's also the other two feats for each tier that they're going to end up having. So we're not exactly sure what's going to be, the best loadout, of course. But design-wise, they sound really fun, which I'm
Yeah,
excited
they interact with like the gameplay mechanic,
Yeah,
which is really good. Really, it'll be fun to use them.
yeah,
I'm glad they're actually adding new feats rather than just adding existing feats and then just popping one random one that has like creativity to it.
yeah. Okay, so that's Tiandi. I'm hoping that's the name. That's Tiandi, and now let's move on to Shaolin. Let me find him on the vault here. There we go. Shaolin, which for me personally is the most fun character I've ever played in For Honor. He's really fun, and there's a lot to him as well. He's not in any way like a Vanguard where it's just kind of, okay, here's the moves that go and do well, kind of thing, where like Tiandi kind of is, where of course there is skill ceiling to him, but it's also kind of simple everything, and then it's about how you use his tools. But here it's like there are a lot of things. There's kind of the word in me, but actually true. I mean, he actually has so many tools, and there's a lot to him, and I think Rama said that he's like the most technical fighter, like the most difficult character to master that they've ever made. I don't know if that's, of course, going to end up being true, but
they did say that, and they also said that he's going to be a character that what's it called, rewards you for mastering him, like a lot.
Yeah. So about him, he has a triple light confirm on sides. So if you hit one side light, you get all three, like it was on stream just now. The choice here, right now the damage is 22. You can see on the damage feedback, but the choice here that I think is very interesting is that you get to either do your triple light, and on chain finishers you can't go into key stance, which is a specific stance that Shaolin has where he gets an entire new moveset almost. I will mention all the things that he gets there in a bit. So you can either go into key stance after doing 2 lights, or you can go for the additional 5 damage that you get of doing the triple light, but not be able to keep up your pressure with key stance, which is something I find really interesting, and I'm really happy they went that way, where you get the choice, and it's also 5 damage, so it's not insane amount of damage, like because the lights deal 22 as I said, so the first light deals 12, the second and third light deal 5 each, so you get to choose kind of what you do. So I found that really cool. And then the top light deals very little damage, but it's 400 ms. So the top light is 400 ms, the sides are 500, they're just standard, but the top light is 400 ms, so it's really quick. And then after his lights and heavies both, he can go into key stance, and then in key stance he gets an entire new set of lights, heavies, and he gets an unblockable. Someone asking, is it 8 damage in the build here that they're showing? It's 10. The top light, and then kick deals 20 as well, but I think he was asking about the top light, which is 10 damage in the build they're showing here. So in key stance, which is down by holding a light or a heavy after doing the attack, it works on whiff or on hit, or on block in the case of lights where end of stamina or in revenge or heavies. You go into key stance, which then you get lights and heavies that are completely different than the usual, and you get a kick. So with heavies on sides, they're undodgeable. The heavies on sides are undodgeable, and I think they get iframes. I'm not sure how many iframes, how much there is, but they did.
I'd be guessing like 200.
I mean that's literally just a guess. I actually just don't know.
Yeah.
But they're undodgeable, and on top it's unblockable. So he gets a top heavy unblockable if he wants to, and then lights are the top one is 400 ms, and the side ones are 500 ms. But they do it in a way like they're hiding the indicators, kind of like Orochi. So it's actually 500 and 600, but with with the indicators. It shows 400 and 500. And the lights are, I think, all undodgeable, or at least the sides are undodgeable. Maybe, I'm not exactly sure. And as they showed on the screen right now, the lights deal they deal what, 25 damage they showed?
25, and the top one is not undodgeable.
Yeah, the top one is not undodgeable.
It just has a lot of tracking.
Yeah, it has a lot of tracking, so that's the... And then he has a lot of undodgeable, so you can just roll away from him or backdash. And the lights on top have crushing counter-strike. I don't know if that's a thing on sides as well. I'm not exactly sure how that works. They only show the crushing counter on top, but it could also be because the bot is only attacking from top. I'm not exactly sure. So he cannot block and he cannot counter guard break in key stance. He can, his way of defending is his crusher counter strikes from, I am assuming, all sides, but it maybe it's just top. They showed top only.
It is from all sides.
Yeah, I'm assuming so. Yeah, but as I said, they only showed top, so I'm not sure. And he has a deflect, which I think there's like 25-30 damage. I'm not exactly sure if they showed that. I'm assuming it's around there. So the way he plays is that he hits you with something, or maybe you block his heavy, or he parries you and he deals his damage, and then he gets to go into his pressure. He starts up his key stance and then he pressures you. There's also a kick, actually, I forgot. He gets a kick, after which he gets confirmed 20 damage with a light. He can also do a sweep after the kick, which is not confirmed, and there's no point in it. I don't get the point of that move. And there's also an unblockable that he can do after the kick. That's a lot quicker. So that's the top unblockable, but he can do it and it's a lot quicker, but it is not confirmed. So not exactly, it's probably not going to be used as much, but for something like hitting a kick on someone and then switching targets and then doing unblockable on someone else, that's probably the use of it.
It would be useful in, like, say you're ganking someone, you kick the person, wait for your ally heavy, and then do the unblockable.
Yeah.
Just delay it slightly, because then it will be guaranteed.
Yeah, so it does have some uses, but it is, in the 1v1 it is not guaranteed. His damage in general is pretty low on most of his things. Like the 22 damage sidelight, that's pretty high, but in general he doesn't go above 30 damage on any of his attacks. I don't think, maybe 35 for the unblockable. I'm not exactly sure actually of the damage, but his thing is being able to go into his chains and do a lot out of his chains. And he actually has an infinite chain as well. Light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy is an infinite chain, or heavy, light, of course. As long as you're alternating between them, then I think the light is 400 ms and the heavy is like 700, 800. Either way, it's really good infinite chain, but you can't just go like light, light, and then continue doing the chain. You can go like heavy, light, light, but the last light I think is 500. And it's also a chain finisher, so you cannot go into key stance. You cannot.
Yeah, you're back to neutral.
Yeah, you're back to neutral, which is not something you necessarily want as a Shaolin. He also has side dash heavies, like dodge attacks that are heavies. They're pretty slow. I think it's 600. They're very slow, but they are undodgeable. I don't know if you can train afterwards. I know we cannot go into key stance, but I don't know if you can train afterwards.
You cannot train or go into key stance.
Yeah, so that's a shame. So they're not very good, but they're just kind of like a punishing tool. And he also has a forward dash attack that is a heavy as well. I think it is like 25 or so damage, and it can be feinted. And after that one, you can't go into key stance. So it has a pretty good range, and that's, I think, about it when it comes to the moveset. So that took that took a decent amount of time. There is a lot to him. And in general, as I said at the beginning, I think he's the most fun character I've ever played in For Honor. He's really, really fun, and there's a lot to him. And in 1v1s, I can see him being really fun and pretty good as well. I'm not exactly sure, of course, when it comes to what tier he would end up being, because that's way too early for that. But he is really, really fun. So that's, if you're hyped for him, then continue being hyped. He's really fun.
And I don't know if you mentioned or not, in key stance you cannot move.
Yeah, you cannot move.
It's like Highlander's offensive stance where he gets a move set, but Highlander can move, but Shaolin cannot move in key stance.
Yeah, he cannot move. He is stationary in key stance. Is the neutral to apply 400 ms? Yes, the neutral to apply is 400 ms, as I said. So that's Shaolin. When it comes to his playstyle, he's really fun. As I said, he's almost about going into chains and doing damage out of his chains and of his key stance rather than neutral. And in team fights, I'm not exactly sure how he's going to end up playing, because of course he's really complicated. So I'm sure there's going to be different ways to play him. But he seems to be really good at going into key stance and trying to find who's going to attack into him, or who's like, maybe there's an Ibushi or a Kensei who are going to be nearby with their hitboxes, so then you can use Crash and Counter Strike on them, or using his forward dash heavy, which has really good tracking, and then you can afterwards go into key stance as well. He's going to be really good at interrupts as well with his 400 ms top light that has really good range as well. Does the attack have to hit to go into key stance? No, if it's you can go into key stance after any attack except chain finisher, I think. And it has to either hit, or it has to be blocked if it's a heavy, or they're out of stamina if it's a light, or you can whiff it. So you can do pretty much everything with it, as long as as long as it's not a light and gets blocked.
The issue with whiffing, like doing like a backlight or whatever, is you're creating distance with it, and key stance is like it's a very close range type of thing. So it's much more useful on hit than on whiff. Yeah, because in key stance he has options. As long as he's close to the opponent, he has options against everything that they can do. If they try to roll away, he has unblockable, sorry, he has undodgeables that he can use. If they try to backdash, same thing. He can use his undodgeables. If they try to side dodge, then again probably undodgeables, maybe something else, maybe the heavy, so something like that. And then if they just try to stand there and do nothing, then you can kick. The kick is really quick, 500 ms. It's very difficult to dodge on a reaction. And it guarantees 20 damage, as I said before. So he has options against everything, and it's everything against him is read based, and he is read based as well offensively. Because his attacks are mostly reactable, except I don't know if I would say the kick isn't reactable or is. This is way too early to say, but it is very quick, and it guarantees a decent amount of damage, more than like a headbutt or a shield bash. So there is a lot to him that he kind of has, kind of like a Kensei, where he has the answer to every situation, but his answer can also be answered as well. It's not like he would. I don't know if he's gonna end up broken or not, but he doesn't seem like he would end up broken. Okay, so last thing about him is, am I gonna be able to find the feats for him? Well, I can talk about them either way. So Shaolin has again 4 new feats, just like General or Dao or Tiandi, and his feats are tier 1. It's a kind of a ward. Where he places a trap, let's call it, on the map, and he can. And anytime someone enters, goes over the trap, they get tagged and they show up on the map, so you can see them. Tier 2 is he teleports behind the opponent and he does the kick, the one that guarantees 20 damage. It can be dodged. Tier 3 is anytime he is in key stance and deals damage, he heals his teammates. And tier 4 is he can teleport to an ally, and that's pretty much regardless of as long as he can see them, from what I understand. Does that trap disappear once somebody steps on, or is it time based? I'm pretty sure it's time based. The tier 2 can be dodged. Yeah, it can be dodged. Probably not on a reaction, but it can be dodged. Yes, the kick is not guaranteed. And the tier 4, as I said, that you can teleport to an ally. So again, with his feats, I can see the same theme of them being really fun, and we'll see again how good they are, but they do sound very, very fun, and the animations for them are really cool from Kraken stream. Okay, so about Shaolin, I think that's it. Now Breach. Breach is the new mode, siege, castle siege mode, that they revealed on RD3 as well. And they've shown some gameplay of it. Let me go to Strippen's stream, Strippen's VOD.
and yeah, there we go. So it's attackers and defenders, and the attackers have, what is it, 30 tickets, 25? I'm not exactly sure on the number right now.
I'm not sure, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's subject
yeah.
to change, of course,
Yeah.
for balancing everything.
Yeah, of course. So the important part is that they have tickets, so a limited amount of lives, and the defenders, of course, don't have a limited amount of lives. And the idea is that the attackers want to storm the castle. There's 3 phases. Phase 1 is where you need to storm the first wall, first gate of the castle, and you actually, then it's actually like a proper siege. Then phase 2 is kind of the fantasy of okay, let me say it like that. Phase 1 is when the defenders have a slight advantage, at least from what it seems like, where they get boosts slightly closer to them. They have the archers, but it's a very small small territory that they have. Now in phase 2, they're all, as you saw, by the way, there the tier 2 got dodged the kick. Phase 2 is a lot longer, and at the beginning the defenders have all the control of all the territory, but slowly as phase 2 progresses, the defender control starts disappearing, and the attackers end up being the ones with control. So the way it works is there are archers, both phase 1, phase 2. Phase 3, I think there are archers as well.
Phase 3 there's archers.
Yeah, so the archers, they deal a decent amount of damage to players, although they're not primarily supposed to be hitting players. They're hitting minions, and if you have archers and there's minions on the ram, they will be killing the minions. They deal a lot of damage to the minions. So the archers are kind of zones that you have to control, but as attackers, if you get the point once, the archer point once, the defenders cannot retake it. It is yours forever, and it is minion controlled. So it has to be your minions that take over the point. You can, of course, you need to kill the captain that is there, all the archers, all the minions that are there defending the point, but the minions themselves are the ones that have to go there and take the point. Okay, so, and there's 3, I think, in phase 2, I think there's 3, and phase 1 as well, there's 3 places with the archers, 3 zones that you have to control. So that's one lane in phase 2. In phase 2 as well, there's another lane, there's 3 lanes. The second lane is the lane with all the minions in mid and the ram, so that's pretty straightforward. There's also a flag, kind of a tribute flag that you can carry that boosts your minions as well, on top of the already boosted minions, because they deal 12 damage or something like that. Of course the number can change, but they deal a lot of damage, is the point. They deal a lot of damage, it's really good. You don't want to fight in the minions. And as we're seeing on the stream right now, there's also a third lane, which there's a ballista in. There's probably boosts. The boost may change depending on the position of the boost may change, but there are boosts there as well. There's at least one. And there's the Guardian. The Guardian is the big one. Guardian is an NPC that is a neutral NPC that if you kill them, he has a lot of health. He doesn't really defend or anything, but if you kill him, you get a bonus for your entire team. And that bonus is, I think you get your renown, and your team gets, what was it, damage, speed, and shield? I'm not exactly sure if everyone gets a shield or if it's only you that gets a shield.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the exact buff and everything, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like a bunch of different stat buffs for teammates in the area.
Yeah, so the Guardian is someone that you want to be farming every now and then where he spawns, and that also creates different roles where sometimes you want to have a roamer. So like Shaolin, for example, would be really good with that with his feats and things like that, where he would be checking up on the Guardian, whether he's there or not. He would be checking up on the ballistas, whether there's anyone there maybe using the ballistas. He would be checking up on mid, so he would not be moving as much around the archer point. He would be moving a lot around midpoint and the third lane of the Guardian. Yeah, Budget?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, phase 2 has like the most roles. Like, there's so much to do in phase 2. Like, there's the archer point, there's ballista control, there's Guardian, and then there's buffs, and then there's minion. So there's so much going on. Putting that out.
Yeah, it's by far the most complex that you will think you will find for Honor. And then phase 3 is where you find the king. There's also an archer point there, and there's, I think, one boost. I don't know if there's going to be. I don't know. I think there is a boost. But either way, there's a king. And the king is a stupid AI that deals a lot of damage if he hits, but he's not supposed to be hitting. So, are you guys worried this would be stall simulator mode? Nah, not personally. Because you're supposed to be fighting over many points. Also, phase 1 and phase 2, there is also a healing point that you have to control. That's also an important part of it. Okay.
Yeah, there's healing points in every section phase.
Yeah, I think. Is there a phase 3?
Yeah,
there is.
There is.
Like a Dominion zone, you're standing on a Dominion zone and you're healing it. It's like that. There's one of those in each phase for very important parts to control.
Yeah, so it's difficult to stall when there's so much going on around the map. Of course you could stall on a point if you have the point, right? Because of course you're going to be able. It's not like it is impossible to stall at all. But I don't think stalling will end up being an issue when there's so much to do around the map. You could be checking up on the Guardian, maybe killing the Guardian if he is there. You could be doing something on the ballistas. You could be clearing minions. You could be, which is very difficult. You could be on the healing point. You could be going around taking boosts and things like that.
You just can't stall effectively, because if you're stalling, the other person is going to start clearing minions. What are you stalling? And if you're stalling, you're going to kill the archers. There'll probably be some factors where you could stall, but majority of the time, you're doing something.
Yeah, like if you're on the healing point, for example, and you have the healing point, you can stall on it as well. Of course, there will be ways to stall. Okay, so
real quick, I saw some talk about Goki, a critical HP hug on the Guardian or Bikini and such. My understanding of it is that it does do increased damage to him compared to a normal hug, but it doesn't do the 10,000 that it says it does to players. It's reduced on the bosses.
Yep. Okay, so that's phase 1 and phase 2, and then phase 3 is the one where you get the king, and he's stupid AI right now, at least is from what seemed from the footage, and he does a lot of damage, but his attacks are very slow. He's not supposed to be the one hitting any attacks, and he has a lot of health, and if you kill him, then you win the game. That's probably the simplest phase. It's kind of the final fight, and each time a phase, if you go transitions, so phase 1 to phase 2 or phase 2 to phase 3, you gain tickets as the attackers. I think it's different depending on from which phase to which you go. I think if you go from phase 1 to 2 right now, it's 8 tickets, and then from 2 to 3 it's 4 tickets. I don't know. I think that's what.
But that's probably gonna change. Subject to change.
Yeah, of course. But the point is that you do get additional tickets if you're the attacker, just for getting to the next stage. And the time limit, I think, that I saw on the stream was 30 minutes. So it is going to be a long mode. It is not going to be like a Dominion. That Dominion can end up being pretty long, but it's usually not. But above 15 or so minutes, it's almost never
a long game of Dominion is 13 minutes.
Yeah.
A long game of this is a full half hour.
Yeah. So this seems to me oh, by the way, we see the shield. Yeah, it is 50 damage or so. 50 shield. 50 sorry, not damage. 50 health shield or so, and it does have a cooldown on the passive there. It seems like a very low cooldown from what, but of course the cooldown can change. Okay, so yeah, it seems to me the most ranked compatible mode, as long as they do it in a way that makes sense, kind of like Overwatch does it, where you get to play both sides, each ranked game, and then depending on how you did, in each side, then you win or lose the game. And I think it would be the best if they end up doing something like that for this mode as well, where you would play one game as the attackers, then play one game as the defenders, to also kind of get rid of situations where someone only likes to play as the attackers, for example, so they just leave every game when they're defenders, right? But if they get to play both sides in a ranked game, then, or in a tournament game, then well, of course in tournament games they wouldn't leave. But in a ranked game, if they get to play both sides, and I think that would fix that possible issue. And it would also be the most fair because you get to play both, and then you get to be kind of judged on both in terms of skill.
So I also believe that's exactly how it should be played in competitive modes. Then you can like do whatever, track the RAM, how far it got, or how much HP King has, or whatever.
Yeah, depending on the phase, there would be different ways to.
Also, have we talked about minions?
Well, I mentioned that they do a lot of damage, but that's about it. Like they do a lot of damage. You don't want to be fighting. Yeah, you don't want to fight in minions.
The minions very much enforce roles. Like in the minion, anybody can clear mid. Like it doesn't matter whether you're a Kensei great at clearing them or a PK. Your PK in Dominion, you can still just go up and zone the minions. Well, in Breach, because the minions do so much damage and so much health, you have to be a hero good at killing them in order to control that part of the map.
Yeah.
A PK cannot kill minions in Breach. You just can't.
Oh,
if
actually,
you're killing minions in Breach as PK, you are hurting your team a lot.
Sorry to interrupt you, by the way, but it seems like the sacrifice feat does it is 25% of your entire health. Like of the it looks as if like you have entire full bar, and then it takes detracts from you. So like if you have 50, you lose 25, I think. From what I just saw on the stream.
And you can't use it when you're below the threshold.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm seeing the other feeds right now, and the tier 3 feed does give a decent amount of health from each hit. But yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
So going back to minions and enforcing roles, another interesting thing about them is because they're such an important presence in the mode, they a lot of things that are good in Dominion aren't good in Breach, and a lot of things that aren't good in Dominion or vice versa, whatever. But a big example is Inspire. You like never see Inspire in Dominion. It's just not used. It's not very good there. Inspire is really, really, really good in Breach because, well, first of all, I mean, it makes the minions stronger, but also what it does, it's a tier 2 damage buff, right? So it's a damage buff you get early on, and it's important for reaching damage thresholds on clearing minions. Like, let's say Raider side heavies or Kensei side heavies, they don't one-shot the minions, but if you have Inspire active, now they do.
Yeah.
So you get your low tier feat, just your tier 2 feat, and now you can use it to reach a damage threshold to really, really quickly push the minions. And they can't contest you while you're doing it with that up because your own minions are stronger now. So Inspire is really good in Breach.
Yeah, and Inspire is like the clearest example. I'm sure there's some others as well that we can't even think of right now, but there are different roles, and some characters that are good in Dominion are not that great in Breach, and of course, vice versa, as you said, Scar. So I'm very excited to, first of all, play this mode because it's really good and really fun, but also I'm really excited to see the meta of it and how the new characters also will work in it. But yeah, here we're seeing the phase 3, and phase 3 also like usually ends up being like big team fights, where phase 1 and phase 2 is more about smaller skirmishes, especially phase 2 about smaller skirmishes. Some team fights of course will occur, because of course they will, but it's a lot about some 1v1s, 2v2s, like trying to gank some people really quick and things like that. But in phase 3 it's almost always going to be like big team fights with all the feats and everything like that against the Lord and the entire enemy team. Someone like, do you feel... Oh, of course Solar is asking like a meme question, but like you cannot dev poll in this mode. This is actually impossible. You as long as the you cannot dev poll in Breach. There's so many different things you can do. Is that like if someone just does that, someone just dev polls and together goes to 1 point, well then the enemy team has the entire map, except that one point, well then the team that's dev balling just automatically loses, and it's even easier to counter than in Dominion, and they're also really big maps. At least like that one map is really big. I don't know if there'll be any other maps. On the Warriors Den, the Pope said that the king can be a lord, a daimyo, or a jarl, so maybe there will be different maps. I would not know, but on this map specifically is very, very big, so you can just simply cannot deathball. Yeah, Budget?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the difference between minions in this game mode and Dominion is like night and day. Like, you actually have to respect the minions in this game mode. You can't just like walk past them and Fiat Lux and just
Fiat Lux doesn't even kill them.
Yeah, so Fiat Lux
doesn't even kill him. It takes away like half her health.
Yeah, so it's pretty good to see, because we already dislike Fiat Lux clearing minions in Dominion, so I'm glad you can't clear it with in this game mode.
Yeah.
Quickly here, from looking at the gameplay a little bit, I think Tiandi's tier 1 is whenever he goes below 2 bars, then every 5 seconds it shoots out a damage pulse for his teammates.
Maybe that would make sense with the team of the character feats. All right, I wouldn't know. Just Ubisoft just forgot the other part of the feed description.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think there's a lot to talk about Breach, but to not have you guys stay here for like 5 hours, I think that's going to be...
There is one more Breach objective that I want to talk about that we haven't mentioned in it. That's the Cauldron.
Oh, yeah.
So once Varam gets up to the gate, the Cauldron comes into play. The defenders can drop the Cauldron on Varam to damage it. That's one of their win conditions. We have 2 win conditions. They can deplete the tickets of the attackers, or they can destroy Varam, and their primary method of destroying it is the Cauldron. So these phase 1 and phase 2, they're kind of separated even further. You could think of it as like phase 1 and 2 in phase 1, and then phase 3 and 4 in phase 2, because the dynamic kind of shifts once Varam is at the gate, because now the Cauldron is a big thing. If you take too long at the gate, your Ram takes too much damage, and it becomes really difficult for you to win. So now you have another objective to control. You'll find attackers sending people up to the Cauldron to defend it, to make sure they can't pull it. Or you'll have maybe them pushing harder at Varam itself to clear the defender minions around it, so that they can just push down the gate really quickly. So it really changes the dynamic of the mode mid-phase.
Yeah, it's very different, and it's as you said, it might as well just be different sub phases. It's very different, and I hope we will like, once this comes out, like, I can't wait, but hopefully we'll see some, like, a lot of play being centered around the Cauldron, where the attackers will want to like disable it in a way. I don't know if that's possible or not, but like use it maybe before, just before the Ram comes there, and the defenders want to stop that from happening as well, and hopefully we'll see all of that. But the Cauldron deals a lot of damage to the Ram. Okay, so I think about, again, as I said, like, about Breach we can talk about it for hours. There's so much to it, but I think that should be about it, so we don't keep you guys for 5 hours. Okay, so the Q&A.
I have 2 points really quick.
All right.
One being that what you should expect once Breach comes out is that you're going to need an entirely different skill set and a much broader skill set to be good at the mode than Dominion. So it's going to need a lot of practice. And 2 is thinking about that. This is my own question from Q&A, because I don't have any Q&A questions. Nobody asked anything. Basically, in matchmaking, do you think defenders will be heavily favored? Because I feel like matchmaking people do not know how to get revives properly, and that's going to be a big detriment as an attacker, because getting revives is very important with tickets.
It's really difficult to say, It depends on all the balance minutiae that they end up just hiding on, how much health Ram has, how much health the gates have, the king, how many tickets, how much.
And just explaining the game mode in general. Like, revives are really important for attackers, like actually stating that. So,
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we can say. I think it's too early because there's just so many different factors to the mode.
I just hope people learn how to catch revives, or it will be a nightmare.
Yeah. Okay, so like I saw a lot of questions, but I guess they weren't at you. So if you guys have anything that you want us to answer, then this is the time. Yeah, like I saw a lot of questions before, but if you have anything that you want to answer, you want us to answer now, then send us the questions. But yeah, like Breach in general, I think it will be the like the most competitive mode, as long as of course it's balanced properly. But I'm hoping for it to be the most competitive mode. It's really fun, and it's really complex, which I find to be really cool. So usually my issue with like any game, well, not really, well, with foreign in general, is that sometimes there isn't that much complexity, although in 4v4 of course there is by far the most, and there are things that we will never be like perfect at in For Honor or in 4v4, which is, you know, different than 1v1 and 2v2 in that way. But Breach goes one step further on that as well, so it's really cool.
wow.
I just got like 3 questions instantly. Do you think that Dominion will still prevail and this mode will go like Tribute unless they do stuff with it?
I don't think it will die, and like I think it's a really cool mode, both design-wise and hopefully balance-wise. I wouldn't know balance-wise.
It's what people want to see too, like what
Yeah.
they've been waiting for this game. So we'll see. Can't really answer that
Yeah.
until it comes out.
But I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of it dying, personally.
White Wolf asked thoughts about foreigner mass attacks from neutral. Seems like a really,
Well, it's one side only, so you can block top, like kind of like,
and it's 8 damage. So
yeah,
it's
or
like getting
8 or 10. I think it was 10.
yeah
in
10.
this.
Yeah.
Like it's one side, so you can think of it as just like a PK zone that doesn't, you know, take as much stam, but also doesn't deal as much damage. We just block top and then react to the sides, and I don't think there should be an issue offensively. Defensively, it's a really good interruption tool.
I think it always depends on the hero you fight. Like, if you're fighting PK as Kensei, PK zone is really annoying because as Kensei, all your offense comes from top, but you can't go top because you'll be zoned. So you have to sit there and be passive in right guard. But, you know, as Kensei versus Shaolin, you don't care if he's got a 400 MS top light, because that's where you want your guard to be.
Yeah.
Same with Conk. You know, Conk won't care because he wants his guard top. But let's say Warlord wants his guard side, so Warlord will care more about Shaolin top life than he does about PK zone. So it's dependent on the hero.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see here. How do you think the General's tier 2 will be in comparison to, say, Chilling Stare?
Tier 2 is the one that's sacrificed, right?
Yeah, we
mean,
don't know
yes.
though, because it might be changed. So
Yeah, I mean, design.
My current guess on it from this first impression is I would only use it if I know I'm fighting a Kensei, otherwise I'll probably pick some Ever tier 2.
Yeah, also depends on
Alright,
what he has,
yeah.
right? Of course, the other tier 2s, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, or if others have like if like say Nuxia or Old Man has other debuffs that are just as strong as Chilling Stare, you might want to take it. But we'll see.
yeah.
So let's see. What role will Tiandi and Shaolin play in Dominion?
Well, Shaolin is really good at
Roamer.
smaller, roamer, smaller skirmishes. He's pretty good at. In big team fights, I think he struggles a little bit because his key stance is, you know, you can defend from it with the crushing counter strikes, but it's difficult to defend from it when there's so much happening around you. That's why I'm saying smaller skirmishes are really good for him. But in general, I would say roamer. He's pretty quick. He's really quick, and his feats also work with the roamer role as well. I don't know about Tiandi. Anyone?
Tiandi's just a bully, dude.
Yeah, he's just really good overall.
Yeah, that's how I would describe Andy. He's a bully. He's a team fighter, you know, like good team fighter, not like on level team fighters like Nobu or Kensei, but he's at home in a team fight, and he's just the team fight bully. Like he can be really annoying to deal with if he singles you out and you don't have proper support to get him off of you.
He's like Conk pretty much with Shield Basher.
Yeah, like Conk. Conk's the team fight bully. That's what Tiandi is.
Yeah. Someone asked, do you feel like the heavily team-based nature of Breach will hurt its popularity? You can still enjoy Dom, solo queue, and duel. A Breach without coordination seems impossible. Well, my take on it personally, as someone who like generally is competitive in games, is that I would prefer to solo queue Breach than solo queue Dominion, because there's so much more in Breach that I can do that I can just kind of ignore my team and focus on my self-improvement. But if people care more about winning than they care about improving, then I could see that being an issue, I guess. But then also that's an issue on matchmaking or on Ubisoft.
I think people in general overestimate how much communication is really required to do well in For Honor team modes. Like, whenever I'm in matchmaking with a group, and occasionally we'll get people complain, "Oh, we can't win. They're communicating." Well, we're never communicating in matchmaking. Why would we? It's just matchmaking. But you don't need to communicate really if you know what you're doing. I see it as well. Like if I'm not grouped up, if I'm just queuing up, but the teammates that I have are good, they know what they're doing. We can pull off good stuff together. We can have effective ganks, effective rotations, and everything, all without being able to communicate because we know how to play the mode. I think it comes down more to people not being very good, people not improving, and there not being good resources for them to improve.
Yeah, hopefully by the time Breach comes around, Ubisoft will have actual educational tools that people could use. Recently, actually, I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna show this on stream because I'm mad about this one. Can I find this?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I know what you mean. I know what you're doing.
Let me show this on stream. I'm mad about this, and this is not about being nice to Ubisoft. This podcast is not about that one. Okay, heroes. Let's go Kensei. Oh yeah, Kensei is a good one. So this is an official site by official Ubisoft For Honor site. They linked this in an article recently about for new players that want to play the game, and some of these special capabilities and things like that, you can play fucking trivia games with that. You can play with official Ubisoft descriptions of the characters. You can play trivia as much as you can with like hero moves. Well, like Ghoul's Rage, tell me what move it is. High heavy attacks are unblockable, tell me which hero it is. These are the types of reasons why everyone's so bad For Honor. We're like Ubisoft, the ones that people could be hoping to help them, get good at the game, and then you find a Berserker. You're like, okay, well, the Berserker hero sounds fun. Really quick attacks, right? Let's see what the official Ubisoft page has to say. The official Ubisoft page has to say that some attacks can hit multiple targets in a row. Charging attacks that harass opponents. What the fuck does that mean? Charging attacks that harass opponents. He doesn't have a charging attack. Do they mean like the rush heavy or the sprint heavy or the jumping heavy? Is that
unblockable top heavy?
But that's not a charging attack.
No, but
some attacks can hit multiple targets in a row. What do they mean? I do not know. Then there's like every hero has something about them, kind of. And then there's Nobushi, for example. Right, Nobushi, what do you think special capabilities for Nobushi would be? It would be okay, let's think of hidden stance, for example, dodge cancels. Well, you have the shark, right? The passive that deals more damage. Those types of things. What Ubisoft thinks? Nah, it's faster revive and many support feats. Those are the special capabilities of Nobushi. It's feats and feats. Those are the two things about Nobushi that are more worth mentioning. So that's why I said hopefully by the time the Breach and this is out, hopefully the resources here are going to be useful for newer players. I said you can play fucking trivia with this shit. Like, let's look at the Orochi. This is Orochi, new rework recently. Let's see what the Ubisoft has to say. Dodges into faster attacks. What? Dodges. What does dodges into faster attacks mean? The dash attack?
He dodges and then he goes into faster attacks. Come on.
I see.
They're
Yeah,
helping
I mean,
you
if
right
he-
here
you know-
to improve at the game.
Yeah.
So when he dodges, he has 2
attacks.
attacks. Yeah. That's it.
Uh-huh.
You know, when he actually hits his dodge attack, he has 400 M as light.
Hmm.
Or does he even? I don't know.
Yeah. You can.
Nobody
go
ever
into
hits it.
what else is
Yo,
there?
show me
There's-
Raider, dude. Show me
Raider. Oh, Raider's a pretty good one actually. Let's see, Raider. So what do you think? Like attack, the zone. That's pretty good. Okay. Now, stun attacks and throws. Strong, versatile throw attacks. Strong, versatile throw attacks. None of these words here make any sense. Strong, versatile throw attacks. I kind of know what they mean with this one at least, but it's retarded. And this goes on and on. Like Kong. Kong is actually just lying to you. Because it's interrupts attacks with standard block. No.
Highly effective defensive mode.
Oh yeah, Warlord has defensive mode, and this guy has highly effective defensive mode. That's the only difference they can think of about Warlord and Conqueror. Lawbringer has... He's good at disabling enemies, which is... I understand what they mean, sure. Attacks can cause stun, sure. Keeps enemies off balance. What the fuck does that mean? Do they mean long arm? Is long arm the preferred tool for this character?
In neutral, yeah.
Yeah. Is good at disabling... He's fucking disabled. What is this? Whoever wrote this disabled... Oh, what is this? What am I looking at? This is an official Ubisoft source that is used for new players to get good at the game.
Yeah, this
Warden.
was literally released for because they gave out the game for free, so they actually
No,
post-
well, no,
like,
this
the
isn't
article.
this isn't new. The
the
article is new.
article.
Yeah.
Yeah, the article, and then they posted this to give to new players.
Okay, what's about Warden? Strong interruption abilities and throws.
Wait, what throw?
I don't know. I do not fucking know.
Warden throws are pretty strong. I don't know, guys.
Like, at least for Raider, I understand. He
Yeah.
has a Stampede target.
Look, I don't appreciate you guys bullying whoever wrote this, okay? I became a top player by reading his guides. I beat everybody with my strong Warden throws.
Your strong interruption abilities are very hard to deal with whenever I fight your Warden. That's
Special
true.
capabilities are literally telling you shoulder bash and shoulder bash.
Straightforward
And throws.
strategy. Okay. Strong interruption abilities and
What does he interrupt you with?
I
What?
backdash into
Shoulder
shoulder bash?
bash.
That's
Adaptable fighting style, dude. So many tools.
So many tools. Fast revive, many support feats. Those are the only things usable on this character. At least they have correct. The Nobushi is a zone character. At least they know that. Dodges into faster attacks. Strong versatile throw attacks. Interrupts attacks with standard block. Keeps enemies off balance. Strong interruption abilities. High heavy attacks are unblockable. All of Kensei's quote-unquote high heavy attacks are unblockable. Every one of them. So if you're a new player trying to play this Vanguard hero that is supposed to be easy and helps you learn the game, all you have to know is that high heavy attacks are unblockable.
Just keep doing top heavy and all be unblocked.
Yeah, no one will block that one.
I promise.
I promise. And then if you're wondering what there's a high heavy attack apparently. Apparently there's high, so there has to be low, right? So we go to Glad. He has the low attack. That's Toe Stab. Toe Stab is an unblockable low attack. Unblockable low attack to distance the opponent. Unblockable low attack. So anytime someone's struggling against Glad Toe Stab, just tell them to block fucking low.
What the fuck is unblockable low attack?
There's a high attack, so there has to be a low attack as well.
Yeah, show me Highlander, dude.
Highlander makes sense. It's like retarded, but
They
makes
don't even
sense.
spell check it. Look at that. Has been knocked down property.
Property.
Dude.
Yeah.
This is an official fucking source for this game. You're supposed to learn from this, guys. If you don't,
Property, bro.
property. Yeah, dude.
He's disabled.
Zerkers actually just don't make sense. What the fuck do they mean? Some
Dude,
attacks.
You can charge his tax. Think about it.
I am thinking about it. I don't know. Some
Take a
attacks.
minute.
Some attacks can hit multiple targets in a row. What the? We're spending like 20 minutes on this, but this is fucking important. Some attacks can hit multiple targets in a row. What sort of fucking mental gymnastics has this man or woman or whoever made this gone through to come up with these words together in a row?
What does PK say?
PK thinks they're just like quick attacks. The PKs won't make sense. Like all of them are useless, but some of them make kind of sense. But like Valk is okay. So by the way, Valk excellent at takedowns. Excellent at takedowns. Now, of course, they mean knockdowns.
Shield to attack.
Can use shield to attack. Excellent at takedowns. They of course mean knockdowns. But do you know what takedown means in the game? It means a kill or an assist. They're actually just using the wrong fucking words from their own game as well. This just
Complex combos, by the way.
complex combos keeps enemies at bay. How? Well, I guess with full block. I guess that's what they could mean. Excellent at
You
takedown.
use shield to attack, so
Yeah, when I screenshot this special capabilities, excellent at takedowns, and can use shield to attack. Everyone thought this was Kong. I do not understand how this can be thought to be like an actual thing. How can Ubisoft think that this is acceptable in any way? For Nobushi, at difficulty hard, they could only come up with feats and feats. Even my
Very
cats,
hard, dude.
even my cats in the background are fucking mad at this one. Like holy shit!
feats are very hard to use.
Feats and feats. That's Nobushi.
Yeah, difficulty hard.
Yeah, you play brawls. Nobushi will revive faster. If you don't have speed revive, Nobushi will revive faster than the others. By the way, the game is telling you that. Why didn't they mention the use of hidden stance, please? Whoever wrote this never played the fucking game, so how would they know about hidden stance? Ah, god damn it! There's like all this cool shit coming, right? The new characters, marching fire unit, breach, all this shit, and then we're told that Orochi dodges into faster attacks, or that the Raider has strong versatile throw attacks, or that the Conqueror interrupts attacks with standard block, or that the Warden has strong interruption abilities and throws, or that Glad has very good properties. Those are the things we're told as we get into the game. This has taken up too much time, but I'm mad at this one. So this is my podcast. I get to vent. I get to rant. Okay, I think that's it. I think this is the note we're ending at. Oh, I got a sub for being mad. Thank you. This is the link to this. Just get mad at Ubisoft together with me, guys. I don't know. I'm sure we could go like game modes and get really mad at Ubisoft together as well, but this is just the heroes. All of the 18
Let's
heroes.
do that. I think let's check out Dominion. Let's see what they have to
Dominion,
say.
okay. 4x. Oh, Tribute is a 4v4 objective game mode, but Dominion it's a 4x4.
Oh, okay.
They're already fucking. Okay.
So what I looked at Scent real quick, and they
Yeah.
don't even use the same words for the same like states. So for Glad they said knockdown property, right? On Scent it says very high damage jump attack on unbalanced targets. They don't use the same words either.
Wait, about Dominion, they literally just have like 3 bullet points: concept, 2 score points, and victory conditions.
Yeah, this will help your players get better.
Yeah, this what helps. We could have an entire podcast just watching the fucking videos in the game, where they're actually just lying to the players, like genuinely just lying to the players. Skirmish or elimination. I don't know how anyone can think that this is acceptable.
Yeah. Show Aramusha on stream. Aramusha's good.
Oh, Aramusha is good actually. Yeah. Where is this? Very good,
good
special
special
block move. I can't laugh hard because my sides actually just hurt if I talk too much.
Very good.
Very
Very
good
good.
special block move.
And very good dodges.
Well, the dodges is not incorrect. 500 MS, right?
Yep.
I assume that's what they mean. But then why only on Aramusha is that the thing they mentioned? Because when they made these, this was like fucking pre-alpha, I'm sure. So Warlord had 500, Nobushi had 500, but no, Warlord defensive mode. That's actually what they're saying about Warlord defensive mode. Nobushi feats. That's all they can think of. Fucking Glad property. That's the important fucking thing about Glad. Low attacks, block low, guys, block low, and you're gonna block the fucking toe step.
No, it's unblockable. You have to parry low.
We have to parry low. That's right. Oh fucking! I don't know. Is this like I'm genuinely thinking that like I heard. I think during like one of the videos they made or something, like very early videos, that they were thinking about making 4 directions. Is this like a fucking like artifact from those times? Like low attacks. They had low attack. Is that what they? I don't know. I just can't even speak anymore. How this? I don't know, dude. I'm just. I don't know. I've got like 3 subs for just getting mad. I don't know, dude. What do they have to say about maps? They have 3 sentences.
They can't even like include a map or anything. Not too much work.
There's a screenshot of the map
Okay.
of point A, I think, or C.
It's not labeled as anything. So I'm a new player to the game. Can you tell me what I'm looking at in that screenshot?
There's a trailer for you. It shows Forge and different weather conditions. This is the most important part. It shows you different weather conditions. It can be snowy, can be foggy, or it can be not.
Oh, okay. So like I said, I'm new. I'm trying to figure out this game, and I'm just going through the website and I see this map section. So I'm like, okay, let's check this out. So what do I need to know about this map? So there's different
yeah.
weather. There's a slow moving camera.
Yeah, there's a
Is
water
there any
wheel.
other
There are
a
2
water
water
wheel?
wheels.
Okay.
This is the important part. This is the difference between this and any other map. There are actually 3 water wheels on this map. One is very big and the other 2 are small. Now, when it comes to what the map is about, is that the map is about very few industries remain in Ashfield, but a non-stop war machine has a constant need for steel. Weapons, armor, and even the currency all require steel. Forges dot the landscape, and they need to work all day to meet the unending demand. Control the forge and you will control the tide of war. But be careful, the forge can be a very dangerous place.
Oh, okay.
This is what you need to know about
I'll
the
make
map.
sure I be careful. I was thinking, like, my imagination as a new player is growing wild watching that video. I was thinking maybe, they would teach me something like, it's a 2-lane home point map, which means it is difficult to back cap, which makes it difficult to come back from a triple cap, being a home point map. But I'm glad to know that something about Ashfield, yeah.
Oh, about Temper Garden, they have actually even less. Were it not a battleground, the Temper Garden would be one of the most beautiful and serene spaces. It is open and has an incredible view of the valley below. It's a shame that the view is what made this place so strategically important.
Okay.
As a new player, I think you're getting a feel for how this map plays.
Yeah.
Let's see different weather conditions that we can expect from this map. Let's see. So there can be cherry blossoms falling. Okay. Oh, there can be. Is this rain? No, this is like dusk. Okay. Oh, it can be night as well. Huh. But it cannot snow. That's the difference between Forge and Temple Garden. It cannot snow on Temple Garden.
Actually, that night it's speaking to me. It's telling me where it is. I think the real info is hidden in that weather. The night is telling me that the C point is closer to mid than the A point.
Yeah.
And this is a neutral point map.
Yeah, that is what the weather is telling you. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There's a shrine as well.
I'm glad that they include the important info.
Yeah. So, new players, I do not know how you are supposed to learn anything about this game. I genuinely just don't know. I am sorry for you. And if you are capable of getting through these fucking articles, then I commend you. I would not be able to. If I were a new player and I was told very good special block move is a special capability of Aramusha, I would probably leave the game. If I were a new aspiring Zerker player, wanting to see some of the special capabilities the people who have made the character in the game learned from, they listed, and I was told that charging attacks that harass opponents and some attacks being able to hit multiple targets in a row are his special capabilities, I would definitely try to do some charging attacks. I would try to harass my opponents with the charging attacks. I would try to hit multiple targets in a row with some of my attacks. I don't know which, but I would be able to experiment, see which attacks can hit multiple targets in a row, and then I would quit the game because it's fucking retarded. I don't know. I think this is a much fucking more needed change than a new character or anything like that.
Yeah, like there being no good education out there is huge. Like, people always talk about the stupid fucking death ball. Death ball happens when there is a large skill disparity. When one team is hold on.
Yeah. When one team, as Scar was saying, when one team is a lot better than the other, they can just kind of do anything, and death ball is one of those things, and it's very frustrating to play.
Okay, I apologize about that, but yeah, as Learn said, because death ball happens if they can just move quickly around the map, and if one team is not good at staying alive, they die quickly and they can move on to the next part of the map. If you can stay alive, if you can stall them out, they're not going to win. So the reason why death ball happens is people are not good at the game. They don't stay alive. They die too quickly, and then the ever stronger team takes over the whole map. You ultimately solve it by having good education out there on how to improve at the game.
Yeah. And someone asked, I got here quite late. I imagine that you haven't spent 2 hours looking at the character pages, have you? No, it's been like 30 minutes. The character and maps. That's what we've been spending the last 30 or so minutes for. We could have ended this like 30 minutes ago, but I realized that I need to talk about this. This is my platform our platform in general, but my platform to talk about this and talk about what I want to talk about, and this is definitely what I want to talk about. Very good special block move. Yeah, I think that's about it for this one. It's ending on a slightly gritty note, slightly unlucky. What do they have? Silicate. Oh, Silicate is one of the first maps. They have like 7 sentences about it, dude. It's one of the bigger ones. Well, Sentinel, they don't even try to have 2 paragraphs. It's actually just one. Yeah, I think that's going to be about it for this one. Do you guys have anything that you want to end the podcast on? If you have anything to say and you want to shout out something like that, then this is your time. Vajrat?
Ubisoft, please hire someone more competent to make structural videos for characters, please.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Oh, next podcast, by the way, we'll be going into the game, and I will be showing you guys the in-game videos, because I'm on the fucking time. I want to talk about that. The in-game videos is going to be either the big topic or just going to be the at the end. I need to talk about that shit. Okay, Reptile?
Ubisoft, please don't fuck up Reach. I really want it to be good. Thank you.
Alright, shout out to Ubisoft. Scarbert?
I want to mention the tournaments coming up again next weekend.
Yeah.
On Saturday, Competitive for Honor is having a Dominion tournament. And on Sunday, Mistrust is having a Brawl tournament. Sign up for both of those.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you guys for being on the podcast this week. This was supposed to be short and it was going to be short, but then Ubisoft happened. We need to talk about that. Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, thank you guys for being here, and I'll go say bye to the stream. So from me about shoutouts, shout out to the Ubisoft intern who fucked this up royally. Shout out to whoever 5 years ago ended up making the videos, in-game videos. Shout out to them. Shout out to Mistress and Ender as well for making the tournaments, and I hope you guys did sign up. What did UB fuck up? Literally everything. Watch the last 30 minutes or 40 minutes of the vault and you're gonna know what they fucked up. This is again a Ubisoft official source linked in an article to new players. Yeah, on this note, on Nobushi having fast rev and Nobushi having feats, I think we're gonna end this podcast, this episode of the podcast. Thank you all for all the follows, for all the subs. Thank you, Craig, for the stream host earlier. I'm sure all of you loved hearing about how bad Ubisoft is in the last 40 or so minutes. Nobody will bother going. No, they will, because this is an official Ubisoft site. This is one of the first places you go to when you learn a new game, an official site of it, when there's resources. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And I'll see if there's anyone I can host. There might be actually scrims happening and soon, so then I wouldn't host anyone. I would just start streaming in a bit. So actually I'll do that. I won't host anyone, but thank you guys for watching. Thank you, the Ubisoft intern, who thought that special capabilities of Nobushi are feats, and then the gladiator had special capability of a low attack.